Paul, hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to Paranormal TV. I'm going somewhere very special today. I'm going on a ghost hunt. Yes, I am. Do you believe in ghosts? Don and the rest of the team will be hosting a paranormal evening, presentation and buffet, a full paranormal investigation. The host is this guy, TV and radio personality, Don Phillips. The place we're going to go to is a place called Ullersthorpe in Leicestershire. It's a good old Danelaw name there. And the Checkers Country Inn. And this is called the Checkers Inn Investigation, with an E on the end. And there's going to be some food and things like that. It'll be really, really good. Don has invited me to cover the event. I'm going to do an interview with him. Some of the other members of the team. I'm going to do a little report on what happened, and you'll be able to see for yourself what it's all about. It should be really, really interesting. And Don, of course, he describes himself as a TV and radio personality, and he is. And I do urge listeners to go to the description box, because go to programme 66 of a Panwo Radio, and you will see, I'll put a link to this radio show in the description box, but it's basically, this is the podcast here. You can get it very, very easily, download it, MP3, etc. There's Don there. It's an interview with Don Phillips, and this is a very, very good one as well. There's a version on his own channel as well, the interview only. This week, Don Phillips, paranormal investigator and spirit contactee. He's the founder of GSI Paranormal UK and has had connections to the unseen world for his whole life. He and his team have developed a direct and sometimes controversial approach. This programme broadcasts actual recordings from inside a haunted house. Well, that's actually true, yeah. So do watch that. And what's more, I'm hoping to get some footage from inside a haunted house now. So do come with me as I head to the venue, and we'll see if we can pick up some spooks. And one thing I should say, I'm particularly happy about this particular film I'm making and this expedition I'm going on, is because Estain is coming with me. Now, you may have noticed that a lot of the things I go to and a lot of things I do, she doesn't accompany me. Just because I don't think she's as into UFOs as I am, so she doesn't come along to the UFO events. Also, it's kind of, she's working and things like that, and like when I went to Exapol and when I went to the UFO Truth Conference, I missed not having her with me. I just really love doing things with her. I love going around to places with her, and I miss her when she's not there. And this time she's coming with me. That's really, really good. And what's more, she's actually said herself that she has an interest in paranormal phenomena, but she's never actually seen anything like that herself, and she wants to very, very much have an experience of paranormal phenomena and actually see it happening for herself. So let's hope, keep our fingers crossed, that she does that and she actually gets what she wants, because I'd be really, really pleased if she does. This is it. The Checkers Country Inn. It's in the old type spelling there, and this is it. We're at Ullersthorpe in Leicestershire, and this is the pub we're going to do this filming in. I'm just doing a little bit of filming. I should just point out I've just been doing some more filming with Don, which is going to be on I may even make it part of the same movie. I'm not sure yet. I might just combine the two. One of our team members, Sandip, has already discovered something strange going on. Look, and there's something strange. There is a windmill. It's got no sails on it, but there's a windmill in somebody's back garden. Incredible. Very clear night tonight as well. Lots of stars. So we're going to go in and make a start on our investigation. Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. And I'm in a charming rustic little place called Ullersthorpe, which is in Leicestershire. And I'm here with Don Phillips. And I'm sure if you listen to Panwo Radio regularly, you'll know Don Phillips from the brilliant interviews I've done with him on Planet X Radio and on CMR. So Don,
Ben,
we are in a place. What's this place called we're in?
This is the Checkers Inn in Ullersthorpe, Leicestershire.
Pub. Nice pub, serves lovely ale and everything.
And a good curry.
Definitely
Good curry.
And what are we doing here this evening?
Well, on the show, Ben, I invited you along to an event, didn't I?
You did, yes.
This is that event.
Here you are. Here we are.
Here we are.
He kept his promise. I'm here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he's been fed. been watered.
I'm very grateful.
Thanks, George. So, what do you think anyway?
I think it's a lovely, charming place.
It is, isn't it?
It has an atmosphere to it, which I can detect. I mean, we're actually here to investigate some of the phenomena that have been appearing here, the spirit phenomena that have been appearing in this pub. And at the moment, there's still plenty of people in here drinking. Jukebox is playing, it's active, but we're going to be hanging around long after closing time, which is unusual for me when it comes to pubs, I must say. And hopefully then we may be able to pick up some of the strange phenomena.
Well, particularly Alice, the little girl that's been seen. Alice. I mean, we've actually recorded the voice on the video of the team investigation that we did here. I've not actually put it out yet, but there's a very good recordings. Very compelling recordings.
So Alice is the spirit of a young girl.
Apparently, yeah, aged between 5 and 7.
And she's
been seen.
She must have lived in this area, or maybe in this pub at some point.
So
it's an old pub. It's what, 17th century.
Goes back 1700s, yeah.
So it's an old pub. It could have been someone who lived here at some point in that time period.
Could have been. Apparently, there's the cellar downstairs. Many years ago, around that era, there was a big fire, and apparently some children died, got burnt there.
Oh dear. It's often events like this that actually create these kind of phenomena. Actually, there's many. If you go to a haunted location, is this right? I mean, hospitals. Hospitals in particular have a lot of activity, and there's been some ghost stories in my hospital. But whenever there's something like this happens,
yeah, well, people say that, but these guys are all everywhere. They are literally everywhere. I think some places. I mean, like in this room now, it's a concentrated area. So if there was, say, 10 spirits, it'd be a lot more apparent than if it was in a,
I remember you telling me every house is a haunted house, really.
Well, I'd say a pretty high percentage of them, to be honest.
I mean, it's quite an anachronistic kind of area. I mean, there's a house next door to this pub where there's a guy's got the remains of a windmill in his back garden. It's really quite remarkable.
Well, so the remains, it's basically a fully fledged windmill, isn't it?
Well, there's no sails on it, but it's
else
very distinctive, a windmill covered in ivy. It's a beautiful sight, actually. We're very single-minded about this, I gather. I mean, I've noticed that about you, and you've probably produced more data than anyone else I've heard of on this subject.
I've certainly put a lot of stuff out since I've sort of come into the public eye.
Yeah.
And it's every single location that we go to.
And you've appeared on the This Morning programme as well.
I've been on quite a few bits, yeah.
With our mutual friend, Professor Chris French.
Mr. French.
Good old Frenchie.
Hello, Chris, if you're watching this.
She probably is, yeah.
She possibly might be.
MBA.
That's on point.
That's a private joke. But now, while you were in that studio, you actually also located a spirit that was actually wandering around that studio. It was one of the crew that they spotted.
The ITV then he invited me in on Supernatural Weekend Donkin to do an investigation because it's been reported there's a poltergeist here called Norman Grimshaw. Yeah, fine, so great, we'll go down, we'll find out, and even if he's not there, I thought there's bound to be guys there as I turn them anyway. And great if they're going to put that out, but that was a bit of naivety on my part.
Yeah,
didn't want to put it out. Anyway, Becky, obviously a lot of people know who Becky is now, my closest spirit friend. The ITV crew said, "Will we hear Becky?" I said, "Yeah," and I actually promised them that he was sentenced. So I said, "Becky, this poltergeist called Norman supposed to be around the hub area. Is he?" And Becky says quite clearly, "I'm in the hub and Norman's there," and that kind of freaked the crew out a little bit, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very successful investigation. Obviously, I couldn't do what I normally do because of Ofcom rules. I wasn't allowed to use digital recorders and everything. The actual footage that I put out was just in the hotel room or during the break, but not actually part of the VT. But yeah, it was pretty interesting.
I mean, now, if you talk to people in the street, there's a great deal of difference. I've always said between folk knowledge and official knowledge. And if you talk to people in the street, I mean, most people you encounter, ordinary people, may well relate some kind of ghost story to you which has happened in their own personal life. In terms of folk memory and folk knowledge, there's no doubt that this is a real phenomenon, but officially it just doesn't exist. Officially,
it never will officially, because as we said before, officially people don't want it to exist.
I know. This
is all the majority of them crying out saying, "Oh, show us some evidence," so well, here's some evidence, and they don't want it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking before we began this, before I actually came here tonight, I was thinking, well, one of the questions I was going to ask you is, will you ever be able to prove this? But then I thought to myself, well, you already have.
Yeah, exactly.
You've done it 100 times over.
Well,
It's been proved.
Well, yeah, I mean, the spirit, the experiments, that video alone, that has probably got more spirit interaction and clear voices, many different voices, than probably any of the video has.
Is this at the Ram?
No, not the Ram. That's the one at the Northampton, in the cellar with the underwater ones as well.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, they are clear voices that you can hear.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a remarkable film. I do urge people to watch it, and we'll be able to tell everyone about your YouTube channel in a minute, because it's very, very interesting. But I urge listeners also to go to the description box, the notes on this film, where there are the radio interviews I've done with Don, which will just give you a bit more background into what he does. So really, I mean, the challenge to me, as I see it now, is not
Benny,
so much to...
It's simple. No. I've said, since I've come into the public eye, I have proved that these guys are real. You cannot dispute. I mean, the video which you've been talking about, Spirit, the experiment, you cannot refute the fact that they are many different types, male, female, and different accents of voices. Okay?
They appear on different recorders, in different locations. I mean, I myself have had encounters with beings that I didn't...
So, I mean, yeah, it's proved, like as I've already said, if you want to prove it scientifically, which I don't believe anyone who does, then send me a scientist.
Yeah, and it's exactly, you've challenged these people.
It's a friendly offer, you know. If you really want to know and you really want to prove it, then, you know, I'm just the guy to do it.
Yeah.
Well, me and the guys, obviously.
Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, our challenge is just not to prove something because it's all been proved. I mean, I think the challenge now is, in a sense, we need some kind of cultural revolution, really.
Yeah,
so that this phenomena, which has been proved, will be accepted.
It never will be.
A paradigm shift, if you like.
Yeah, but it never will be, will it?
You never know. I mean, I remain hopeful. I mean, for example, when Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas, he met the local people, the Indians, and they were telling him. One thing he was surprised was that when somebody dies, no one really gets upset. They just continue the relationship with their loved one in the spirit world, and for them, it's just the person has like moved house, and that's because they had that kind of culture. It was in that paradigm that accepted these as normal. We live in a very, very different culture.
Yeah, but as I said previously, Ben, I think on the radio show, the problem that we've got is spirits are part of the natural world.
Yeah. We
no longer live in a natural world. We live in a man-made world, which has got very little provision for the acceptance of spirits.
That's the truth. I mean, in your view, do you think this is just ignorance on the part of society, or do you think there's some kind of deliberate attempt to suppress this knowledge?
I actually do believe in some quarters there is a deliberate attempt to suppress the knowledge.
Spirits, but they're not dead. What do you mean?
If you ask any of them, they won't. At the end of the day, their consciousness, they're not dead. They've just literally gone on to a different existence. It's only the body that dies. They, personality-wise and spiritual-wise, they're not dead. Nothing ever actually dies, Ben. It only changes.
Strange, must feel strange. I mean, obviously, one day we'll all discover what this actually feels like for ourselves. But it feels. It's an odd thing to imagine because they're like. In a sense, they have a sense of the identity of who they were when they were alive. They call themselves by their names.
You know, there's so many misconceptions. I mean, you get this, and people say, "Oh, I've got somebody here, they don't know that they're dead." I mean,
it's a line from a film, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. I mean, anyone with an ounce of intelligence would know there's something not quite right. To be fair,
I think you work it out.
You don't so much working out that there's something to do. You know. So, but yeah, they retain everything, the faculties, their knowledge. I mean, look at the past things. You know, scientists and that have come through from the side. Yeah. Skull experiment told them how to build the device.
Yeah, of course, that's right.
And even drew a diagram, supposedly.
I mean, I've known people who've brought through people from ancient Greece who talk about philosophy and science from that
I've
time.
actually had a Roman soldier as well. Yeah. That's in my workshop, as bizarre as that might sound to some people, or maybe not now, because they don't know what I do, but...
It's quite amazing, isn't it? The chances are these spirits actually far outnumber the living. Many-fold, they must do.
Many.
Yeah.
Many. Yeah. Everywhere's haunted then.
So, I mean, big question, what we were talking about before, about how the difference, say, like the Red Indians, and about how we were discussing about maybe that there's some kind of an element of deliberate suppression on the part in the role of the political class in this world. Why do you think that's it would be necessary to do that? What's so inimical to the powers that be in this world that we don't know about this phenomenon?
Because the powers that be would not, first of all, like to suddenly realise they're not in control of everything, for one thing. It is something that they cannot control.
Yeah.
There's so many questions that would be asked. I mean, you've got people taking medication because they're hearing voices. Now, some of that may be medical-wise, but there's bound to be a percentage where people are actually hearing voices.
Yeah.
You've got the skeptics going around telling everyone, "Oh, it's all rubbish." And
children with imaginary friends, so-called.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at the Joker case. Absolutely fascinating. Started talking to this person who turned out to be a relative that died many years before that this little girl didn't even know. And she even said he spoke Spanish and everything. So there's so many instances, Ben, of, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would have if this became sort of like accepted in the general official sense, not just the folk sense. It would cause quite a
chaos.
It would cause something of an upheaval in society.
Yeah, well,
certainly,
society will start asking questions of certain religious groups, and the religious groups will not be able to give them the answers.
Well, this is
because a lot of it goes against the way things are supposed to be.
Well, that's a good point, because in our society, the only other choice apart from being an atheo-materialist is to buy into one of the off-the-shelf package religions, which you then have to please the priest, don't you? You have to go to confession every Sunday, otherwise it's the only way you're going to get into heaven. And of course, put some money in the plate. I mean, but this in a sense makes that role of religion redundant.
Yeah, and to be honest, all religion, I'm not anti-religious by any stretch of imagination, but all the teachings are effectively based on people's interpretation of things through the years, not necessarily the way it was or it is, but the way it's interpreted to be. There's a lot of things that are actually incorrect. Well, yeah. There's a lot of things that have been misunderstood, and a lot of things we don't understand now, and we never will.
Yeah, there's things in the Bible that if you read them, you can see they're being interpreted by the people at the time in a particular sense, but really, in the modern world, they'd be interpreted differently. And
people say, God, well, spirits are real, and you're saying demons are real. Does that mean that God's real? Well, absolutely, but depending on your depiction of God as a universal force. Yes, that man up there with a beard, judging everybody.
The one who punishes sinners.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. And of course, the Vatican and other religious institutions are so powerful, they wouldn't want this released either. Now, the skeptics. Now, I suspect that the majority of skeptics, I know skeptics, I've got nothing personal against most of them. Some I really don't like, but most of them are decent, nice enough people you can get on with. Professor Chris French, he's a reasonably pleasant person.
He always gets to mention this, Chris, doesn't he?
I can't put him down. I'm always talking about him, yeah. But no, I made a comedy video about him once, and he thought he was very funny, so he doesn't resent me at all. But I think the majority of them are sincere in what they do. I think there's a minority, and there are people I won't name, but I suspect are actually part of this conspiracy to cover up the facts and things like that. But I think most of them are just what you might call useful idiots. I think most skeptics are decent people. Like I said, I wouldn't name the people I suspect, but there are probably some who are actually knowingly involved. They, for whatever reason, they may just be going along with this because they're maybe scared of the chaos, scared of the disturbing of the status quo, things like that. But most of them are all right. Now, another thing I want to bring up with you is to talk about your own personal investigations. Now, you, along with the data you've collected, the evidence you've collected, I've noticed that you have a distinct code of ethics as well in what you do. There's certain rules which you abide by, which you won't break, and I think that's a good thing, because I think in a lot of the world of paranormal investigation today, you find an absence of that, and that leads to disastrous results. I think the subject has been trivialised a little bit,
Yeah, there are groups out there that will basically tell anybody anything to get into a place to investigate it. Sometimes, oh, we can help you. Nothing when the chances are, the great chance a lot of times they can't. They want to be there to be the one to get that picture, you know, and everything. But for me, it's not about that. At the end of the day, primarily, it's about helping people, and that's it. Yeah. The events, as you know, I mean, at the Advertising Standards Agency, just over 12 months ago, all over me, you can't put this, you can't put that. You know, well, yeah, I can. For entertainment purposes only, well, no, because it's not. You know, I use these events to help educate people and people to understand and people that actually want to know, like such as our guests that are actually here this evening.
And there's been some disturbing accounts. People, like I say, turning up, saying they're there to investigate. They were ghost hunters. They turn up to somebody's house.
Horrible term.
And then they bring a load of their friends from the pub, and sometimes these people steal things or they vandalise.
Yeah.
I think it's been trivialised. I mean, it's been trivialised in the media a lot, with Most Haunted particularly. I think that programme has a lot to answer for.
Yeah, but I actually think that any group that's actually going to go into the public's homes under any pretense, paranormal or not, or come in contact with children or anything else, should all be CRB checked legally. I think that should be the law.
Fair enough.
I think that'd be a good way to go.
It's definitely you need.
You get a group of people turn up at your door. You don't know their past. You don't know what they're capable of. You know, some of them could still be within the criminal vicinity. You don't know if you can get stuff stolen or anything. You know, so I just think as well, especially when on occasion I come into contact with children, you know, because of what I do. So again, it'd be a good thing for people to all. I think it should be law that you should have a check.
Well, I know that ASAP, the Association for Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena, is actually running now a nationally recognised qualification you can earn at one of their training courses, which is a good step in the right direction, where people actually are trained in a bit of professionalism and a bit of ethics, which is really, really good.
Yeah, but for me, training shouldn't be necessary. At the end of it, it should come down to common sense. But like I said, I suppose everybody's got their own different ethics and ethical standards and the way they work. You know.
Now, another in the realm of ethics of paranormal investigation, we're going to have to discuss what happens when in our relationship with the mainstream media. Because I mean, I've got a friend who's a well-known producer, TV programs on the paranormal. He was about to sign a deal for a major TV series, and they said he was going to get all the budget he needed, all the equipment, everything was going to be quite a glossy production. And at the end of this, they came to him and they said, yes, but when you do these investigations, we're going to have to take into account, we're going to have to make allowances for what will happen if you don't pick up any ghosts. We're going to have to fake a few things just for the viewers. And this man, to his credit, said, in that case, I'm not doing anything which involves fakery. And he turned around and walked out. To his credit, well done. Now, this is another problem because, I mean, Most Haunted, of course, maybe several other paranormal series, they do this. In fact, I mean, the actual proportion of real events versus the fake ones in some of these series is very disputable. My own view is that you should never, ever fake anything under any circumstances.
Well, no, I mean, I've got stuff kicking off shortly, as you know, with some TV stuff and that, but if a production company say, yeah, but Don, you've got to do this just to target, you've got to do that, I'm not interested then, because at the end of the day, me and the team, right from the very first day of the public guide, it's been about things being open, transparent and real.
Yeah, that's very true, yeah. So,
fortunately, we don't have to make things up.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you yourself never had to, have you? No. I mean, obviously, sometimes you do. Like, I went on an expedition to a church with my friend Ellis. Went to St. Fry's White event I went to. Nothing at all happened. I went home and I just told the viewers, I said, look, nothing's happened. And I said, well, I'm not going to pretend something did happen when it didn't. No. I mean, last year something did, you see. I really did get something really amazing did happen. But this year, unfortunately, it wasn't repeated. But there's no way I'm going to fake or pretend anything. I'm going to be intellectually honest over this.
Absolutely.
So, Don, you have a YouTube channel, don't you, where people can, and a website where people can actually see some of your material, videos you made. And what's your website?
YouTube website is www.gsiparanormal.com. YouTube channel is GSI Paranormal UK. YouTube channel.
There's some amazing videos.
We are on Facebook as well. So, and there's a lot more to come.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'll be doing an investigation here this evening.
We are, in about
letting
15 minutes time.
Sure, I'll be keen to let the Paranormal TV viewers know how I get on the other video I'm making. And of course, as I said, it's always worth going to that channel and looking at your videos, because I mean there's some amazing things you see. We've done voice recordings from underwater. There's tables move and all kinds of things and voices you can hear.
But the tables don't just move. They're not. These are not the normal little flimsy tables. This is like a solid oak 6-seater table. And it doesn't just move, does it? It kind of right up in the
Look
air.
at the photographs as well, like the photograph in the mirror and things like that.
That's
in the mirror.
That's really impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, John, first I want to thank you for being on Paranormal TV. And it's been great. And we're going to have a great time this evening, aren't we?
We are. We'll be starting in about 15 minutes or so. So I know you wanted to speak to one or two members of the team. So
Yeah, definitely.
I'm now going to disappear, but everyone farewell. And thank you, Ben. And I shall see you in a few moments. Mate.
Thank you,
We,
Tom.
Get ready for the investigation.
Nice one.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Oh no, Marie, welcome to Paranormal TV. Thanks for joining us this evening. Now, you are a member of GSI Paranormal. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you joined up?
Yes, certainly. I've been with GSI 2 years now, actually, and I have certainly seen some things, and I've certainly heard some things. The first time I got my validation was with Don at the Black Lion in Northampton. It was about 2-3 in the morning. I can't remember now. We've been up a long time, and it was just me and Don in the whole building. And this is the first time I heard of Becky. And I heard a complete conversation between Becky and Don. Absolutely gobsmacked I was. She was telling him she wasn't very happy. I could hear it so clearly, and he asked her why. And she said there was a deathbed put on him, which Don wasn't aware of. He didn't know what it was either. I was filming this in absolute astonishment, and basically it was. Becky told us that a demon had put a, I suppose curse is the wrong word, but that basically when he goes to sleep, he won't wake up again. So that was, it was, and it was a quick boot into it all really. So, but to this date, nothing surprises me. It surprises me, but it doesn't. That sounds a bit of a contradiction in terms, but I know what's out there. I know it's there, but it still amazes me at the same time, because you don't know what you're going to get. And as a first validation, that was quite something.
Yeah, and it's quite frightening. I mean, this is often what I regularly attend a spiritualist church, and I get the feeling that from the people there, the speakers, it's basically everything beyond this world is all love and light. Now that's not the case at all. What you'll find is that beyond this world, there's both good and bad.
Definitely.
There is love and light out there, but there's also some darkness too. And so these demons are mischievous or malevolent entity spirits.
I believe so, but I believe there's lots of different kinds. There's just so much out there to know, which we try with Don. We try to do all the time. Is learn more and find out more. I've certainly had some frightening experiences and heard some pretty awful voices say some pretty awful things. They make it quite apparent, but like you say, there's a lot of good out there and some lovely stories, and you find out some amazing things when you're in a particular location. So it's well, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, so we don't want to give our viewers nightmares, because of course this is because what we're talking about here sounds like the plot of a horror movie, and indeed a lot of them are, but based on this plot, on this kind of story. But it's not quite that bad.
And it's also, for me, it's nice to know that your loved ones are still there, whether you hear or see them. The validation I've had, for me, they've got to be there at some point, and they're watching us all around, and I think that's actually really quite comforting.
It is. It's good news.
It's a
To know
lovely
they're
feeling.
out there.
Yeah,
To know they're out. And I know that we ourselves will one day, when we die, we will with the end of us, we will move into another form of existence.
That's right.
And carry on, which is a nice thought, I think.
It is a really comforting thought. So it never ends, and that gives me comfort. So
Great.
it's all good.
Well, Marie, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we've just spoken to some of them, to Don and some of the other members of the GSI Paranormal team, and now we're about to start on an actual investigation here at the Checkers Inn. So join me after the investigation, and we'll just find out how it went. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order.
Oh, this is that other one.
What's it called? I'm doing it. It's very fast. You know, sometimes they speak quick. But it says, I'm doing it. Listen to this. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Brilliant. We're downstairs with Becky. Listen to this. Can you hear that? No, it's not. It's we're downstairs with Thomas. Listen.
Thomas.
Again. That's a very good one.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh, what's that? Hang on. Shh. Hundreds of people. Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like more than one.
Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
Can you hear that over there?
Yeah.
Hundreds of people. Hang on. Shh. Let's just make sure you say that. Shh. Good. Hang on, next one. You decide. You just saw it.
We're just trying.
Oh. You're just trying, yeah.
This is the next one.
it sounds fine.
Hang on. It is foreign, isn't it, that?
You just
That's that foreign one. Look for it. Want it?
Wanted the second one, so I said, look.
No.
that's amazing.
Ben's face. I just see your eyes getting bigger and bigger, mate.
That's the most incredible thing. It really is. That's so clear.
That is, you can't dispute that's a child,
It
can
sounds to
you?
me as
That's a
if
boy. It's a, yeah,
one
young
says
boy.
look, then somebody says for it.
Yeah, it's him. It's mum. The sound, because of where they are and how they talk, it's not like we speak in the same tone. They'll speak, but it'll alter because it's in a vortex or it's whatever, you know, or the atmosphere. That has got to be the favourite of the night.
Yeah. And that's when we were all sitting around here.
That singing one's amazing.
Out of the 64.
Yeah, that singing one. I've still got this tune in the end.
Instrument in that one, like cymbals.
Well, it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. Our investigation has come to a close. We basically spent the night going around this pub, sort of like hiding in little corners, going into various areas which are all dark, and then running the voice recorder to try and pick up voices, the electromagnetic meter to try and pick up electromagnetic radiation. And there's various other toys and props we've used, like a balloon, just to see if the thing will shift a balloon or spirit. And Don has said that normally he gets a lot more evidence than he has tonight. However, I'm personally very impressed. I mean, we went all over. We even went into the cellar where the beer barrels were. And as Don explained earlier on, There's a they found some graves down there, dating back several centuries. Now what we did was Don played the recordings. He did some of these recordings, which is EVP or AVP, actual voice phenomena, he calls it. Some of them were extremely impressive, including one particular one in which you hear a number of men singing, like a male voice choir, and there's another one in which you hear several young boys, it sounds like young boys anyway, talking loudly and very clearly indeed. Extremely impressive. And I was actually there when that was recorded, and I can assure you there were no noises, no sounds coming in at all at that time. We were all sitting there quietly while Don was pressing the record button. So I take EVP very seriously. I think it's a worthwhile form of study, and I don't dismiss it. I don't think it's radio waves, because this is a voice recorder. It doesn't pick up radio waves. It wasn't any ambient sound at all, I can promise you that. I think it is spirits using our recording audio media to communicate with us in some ways. What they say doesn't always make sense, but then we don't know. They don't necessarily think like we do when they're spirits. We can't anthropomorphise ghosts. Anyway, I'm very, very grateful to Don Phillips for inviting me along to this event. Please keep your eye on the description box, and also I'll do a review, a written review. Please look out for the official video of this event from GSI Paranormal UK, the YouTube channel. And thank you, Panmo TV viewers, for watching. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order.
Well, I'm back now, and that was really quite something, as you can see. Well, I mean, that was tiring. I felt a bit nostalgic, actually, because that's like a good old-fashioned portering night shift. But you might have noticed at the end of the last part of the interview, I was sort of like, my eyelids were a bit heavy. I really, really enjoyed that. I want to say thanks to Don for bringing me along. I really, really had a wonderful time there. Really, absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely fascinating what we discovered. Don, as you can tell, I think in the footage, he says that normally he gets 10 times more evidence than that. Well, you know, from what I've seen, that was extremely impressive, and I was very, 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 very satisfied with that investigation. As you know, I've been on I do have an interest in the things that go bump in the night. I've been on a couple of investigations of my own, like to St Margaret's Church, where nothing happened. Now, this is one thing I was absolutely determined to do, and I said this to Don. I said straight away, I said, look, Don, if nothing happens, I'm going to tell the viewers nothing. I will still upload the film, and I'll just tell the viewers nothing happened. And he said, absolutely. He said, no way would you do anything else. I mean, this is I think the difference between proper paranormal investigation and the media associated with it, radio and TV shows, etc., and the bad ones. This is what separates the good ones from the bad ones. The bad ones, well, I'll give you an example. I mean, I spoke in the interview about a guy I know who produces TV programs, and he was approached by some Channel 5, I think, or one of the terrestrial channels, one of the Freeview channels, to make a program about ghosts. He was given a big budget. He was given everything he needed, nice production design, a good team to work with, everything. And then they said, but just one thing, all right, if nothing happens, we're going to have to fake some stuff for the viewers. And my friend, to his credit, got up and walked out. He refused to do the show. This is the problem. I mean, in some programs, there are some very, very popular paranormal investigation programs in which, well, at least the majority, I mean, people argue over the proportions, but there's no doubt that the most popular paranormal investigation programs, the majority of it is faked. They're there to make a TV show, not to do a proper investigation into the phenomenon. If the real phenomenon turns up, they use it. If it doesn't, then they just put some imaginary in. And that is very, very bad, because it discredits the whole subject, basically. And it certainly discredits the team involved in doing the investigation. And Don, I'm very, very impressed with Don's attitude, actually. He's very, very professional indeed. He said, I mean, he goes into these investigations hoping something will happen. I went there hoping, I had it at the back of my mind when I was on my way, thinking, well, maybe nothing will happen this time, you know. As it did, something did happen. We had, as you hear in the video, we got those amazing EVPs. We also had, there was an incident where a table tipped slightly and no one was touching it. There were some orbs on the Tony, the technical guy. He picked up some orbs on the camera. Apparently, there's a difference between real orbs and just dust. That's they're not all just dust. A proficient filmmaker can actually tell the two apart. But that was definitely there was definitely some amazing evidence there. I've found. I was very enjoyed it very much. The rest of the team were really nice people. I met a few of them. I interviewed a couple of them, as you can see, and basically, all in all, great evening's work. And I'm very grateful to Don for going there. Hope we'll cut back again. This is remarkable because I was discussing this on the subject of EVPs. This is controversial because many people say that EVPs are a bad line of inquiry. I know there's some groups. They were talking about it at the last Bufora conference I went to, and there was a lot of talk about, we're not. There's a lot of people that were against EVP saying, no, it's a bad line of inquiry. It doesn't work. Waste of time. Very dodgy. Very uncertain. You end up with egg in your face if you go there. Well, Gareth, as you can see, Gareth from the Mindset podcast, I'll put a link in the description box to that as well, was talking about EVPs, and amazingly, the Mindset Central was actually affected by EVPs. And it was when they were in the middle of it, appropriately when Gareth and Reeves were in the middle of recording the Paratalk show. So do check that out. That's interesting. Now, whether that is a EVP or whether it's some kind of artifact of the recording, I don't know. But it's really, really horrible. It's really horrible noise. Yeah, was I frightened? I think you're going to probably be wondering that. Was I at all frightened at any time? No, I wasn't. I wasn't frightened because the lights were on. There were people there. It was more of an atmosphere of a good night out. I think that was the attitude. And we were discussing, the fact that that when it comes to the team you've got to go with. I was explaining. Who are you going to take to a paranormal investigation? And because of the popularisation of paranormal investigation, thanks to certain TV shows that fake a lot of stuff, very often people they set up a group, they say they're investigators, they just pour out the pub at the end of the night blind drunk, they go into somebody's home, they bring any old sods, anyone they feel like along with them, they end up stealing things and things like that. They end up shagging in the bedrooms and stuff like that. Isn't it really bad? Don won't stand for any of that. He believes, as I do, this is a serious subject. It's got to be done seriously by serious people. So I'm very, very glad Don has the right attitude there as well. Don's approach is controversial, but he is getting results. He's quite open about what he does. There's no secrecy about Don. He brings all his equipment is there to be examined by anyone who chooses to come along. He formats the voice recorders beforehand, so they're completely clean when they go on to when he begins a recording. He allows anyone who's there, who comes along, to handle his voice recorders. We used them a couple of times. We borrowed them a couple of times to do separate EVP recordings in different parts of the pub. We can check them out whenever we like. So he's quite transparent. And of course he's making a name for himself now. He's been on TV. I'm glad he's debated old Professor Chris French, MBA Gold, and we hope to see more of him in the future. And what's more, keep an eye out on Paranormal TV, because I intend to collaborate with Don as well on future projects, including some of the films he's making. So stay tuned for those. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little. We dip in our toe into the world of the supernatural. There'll be more to come soon. Thank you for watching Paranormal TV, Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order.